3D birthday minion with a cupcake acrylic nail art tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi everybody! In today's video I'm doing a nail that was inspired by this little beauty's birthday. Somebody is a whole 1 year old, and so this nail is a minion with a party hat and a cupcake because she had a minion or a Bob themed birthday party, didn't you? She did. It was Bobs everywhere. Bob balloons, a Bob birthday cake, all kinds of stuff. And there's a Melody Minutes about her birthday at the end of this video, so check that out. And don't forget to click subscribe to see all my future videos as well.
So I'm going to begin with an overlay of a very, very glittery pink acrylic. Melody is like, if it's got pink, if it's got glitter, or if it has Bob on it, I am all for it. So everything she got was pink, glittery, and Bob. Or everything that was about her birthday. So start with that glittery pink background and then encase the nail with a layer of clear acrylic to make sure that it is nice and strong and to protect your glitter acrylic underneath. This one in particular I could file and it wouldn't do anything to it, but sometimes you have ones that when you file them, they get icky looking. Then, as I mentioned, you will be filing this nail into shape with your e-file. I started out with a fairly coarse bit to remove any bulk that there may be. And then I switched over to a finer bit just to smooth out the entire surface of it and make sure it is nice and velvety and smooth, and you can work on top of it really easily and it's not going to hinder your 3D application. So I'm going to start said 3D application with yellow acrylic for my minion's body. So begin just with a oval shape for your minion. Minions come in all different shapes and sizes, but they're all ovals. They're different heights and they're different widths. But start with an oval. You don't really have to worry too much about if it's, depending on how long your nail is, if it's taller or shorter, because like I said, some of them are taller, some of them are shorter, but if you're Melody, they're all named Bob. So I did the first layer just to kind of get the shape down, then I added a second layer to make it a little bit more domed and rounded looking as far as the front goes. Just kind of get that in there. Then I'm going to take a blue acrylic and I'm going to sculpt the little legs underneath. So instead of going right to your overalls, especially if you're not taking any breaks between the application of the yellow and the blue, you don't want to necessarily go right on top of the yellow that hasn't set very much. So if you do something like the legs and then go back to it, that gives your yellow a chance to set up a little bit before you start adding more layers on top of it. Now I'm going to be adding his overalls on top of his body. Just like so. It's so funny. Melody is so Bob obsessed that she was speechless for most of her birthday party. She cracked me up. Then I'm going to add those little pockets on the sides with the tip of my brush to sort of press in and create the little indent. And then add the overall straps. The straps are something that you can either do now or you can wait until the arms are in place. But because the cupcake is going to be sitting in front of where the straps attached to the overalls, it would probably be easier to do it at this time instead of waiting. I know in some of my past 3D tutorials I did the arms and then I added the overall straps, and if he's holding something I would probably do it this way, but it really doesn't matter. You can do it however you like. Then with some black acrylic I'm going to be adding his little boots. Just like so. Shouldn't take too much, just add the little feet on there. And then I'm going to be adding his goggle strap. Same thing, there are different ways to do everything, and you could do the goggle itself and then add the strap to it. And depending on, I would probably do it that way if you're doing a two-eyed minion, but if you're doing a one-eyed minion, as I am, you probably want to do it, I mean, it doesn't really matter, but if you're doing a two-eyed minion, I would do the silver portion first and then go to the black strap, so that, because you're going to need more space for the silver, and it's just, up to you, however you want to do it. But then I'm going to take some purple acrylic and I'm going to be adding the party hat. Just take purple, make a triangle on top of his head. This way you also don't have to worry about hair, which as far as when I was, there's a picture of her cake at the end, but when I was working on her minion cake, I was like, you know what, that'll be much easier. If I put a hat on this guy, I don't have to do hair. So that also works in the nail realm. You don't have to worry about his skinny little hair if he has a hat. But then plop down a bead of silver acrylic right in the middle of the two ends of your goggle strap. And then once it's set up just a little bit, dip a dotting tool into some clear acrylic, and you can use that to stretch out your bead of silver into that nice circle. And now in a nail form backing, I'm going to be sculpting the little cupcake. So with pink, I did the wrapper and make a nice little trapezoid, just like so. The cupcake you can take and do as much detail as you want or as little, and if it's obviously, if you're doing this for a birthday for somebody, you could do a cupcake or you could do, a little number. I know Melody had, for her actual cake, the minion was holding a little #1 candle. So there's options there. But then glue your cupcake onto your minion's body right in front of his chest so it looks like it's in the right spot for him to hold it. Then sculpt 2 yellow arms on a nail form backing. So just kind of pull them into a slight curve shape. Think of them as little bananas. That also works because that's kind of their shape. Not quite as tapered on the ends, but when I was working, I'm like, oh, they could also be little bananas. So, and just sculpt your 2 arms just like so. And then once they're set up enough where you can pick them up, you're going to want to peel them off the nail form backing with your brush. So just kind of wiggle your brush underneath, pick them up, set them down so that one end is on the shoulder of your minion and one end is on the cupcake. And hopefully at this point they're not too set where they won't conform at all. So this way they're going to nicely fit on your minion. Blend out the shoulders with a little bit more of that yellow acrylic. This is where doing the straps after the arms are attached is beneficial because you can just put the strap over the top of the arm and it blends that out really nicely. But either way, it works. Then add the gloves holding onto the cupcake with more black acrylic. And then fill in the eye with white. So we were talking about this at Melody's party and what should a one-eyed goggle be called, because I've had this issue every time I've done a minion design because I always choose one that's got one eye. And we decided that it should be called a monocle. So if anybody wants to weigh in on this, please feel free to, but in our household we decided it's a monocle. And then I'm going to be adding I painted the inside of the eye white. I'm going to be adding some black outlines here and there just to kind of crisp up any lines that need it. Add his little smile, right like so. And just keep adding details wherever you see fit. I decided to really outline this guy. There is so much happening on this one little nail. I mean, there's the glittery background, there's the party hat, there's a cupcake, there's a minion. There's a lot of little details that in this circumstance, I think it's more important to outline things than maybe sometimes where it's a more simple design and your eye can see all the details easier. But because there's just so much going on, those black outlines really help to define all of the little details you worked so hard to create. So just keep adding the outlines, and if you do bit by bit and you're like all of a sudden you haven't done everything but it looks good, you can feel free to stop. You don't have to actually outline absolutely everything. Or you can, like I did. A lot of times when I'm outlining, I don't necessarily intend to outline absolutely everything, and then all of a sudden I'm down like, oh, I did it. I highlighted my frosting with a brighter shade of pink and a little bit of white to make it look really, really shiny. Adding some white teeth inside his mouth. And I'm also going to be adding light pink stripes on the party hat with the same light pink that I highlighted my cupcake with. And then I'm going to give a little bit of brown in his eye. And you can do whatever minion that you like. Melody seems to like the one-eyed one, so that's where, and so do I. So that's where this one came from. Add the black inside the eye. Just a little bit for the pupil, little dot in the center. And then a little white highlight, and then apply some gel sealer over the background to really make those sparkles sparkle. And then just kind of work around it. And after you have that applied, then you're going to cure it. After it's cured, then we're going to be applying some matte top coat over the minion and the cupcake and all of that. Then I took a little pom-pom that I have, and I'm going to glue that to the top of his party hat just for a fun little extra detail. Might take a couple layers of glue, especially if you're me and your nail glue challenged. And that is it. Apply some gel sealer over the eye, cure it one last time, and he's done. And now for our Melody Minutes.
Hold on tight. You gonna come see me?
You ready? Hold on tight. Hold on.
So she got a roller coaster and a ball pit for her birthday. Those were her 2 big gifts, as well as that tent. So we got a whole bunch of stuff before she was born that we kind of were storing, and she ended up getting everything at once because we were sick of storing it. So she kind of got bombarded by presents on her birthday. But the ball pit was by far the favorite, at least on the day. She was in there for an hour and a half. And she's a pretty busy girl, so she doesn't generally do anything for too long, and we couldn't get her out of there. So here's Melody with her cake. And here's her trying a cupcake, which she actually didn't eat very much of. She was like, I don't know, it's okay. And she gave it to me. And here's a picture of her cake with her little bob on top of it. If anybody's curious, that's 3 cupcakes inside of the fondant. And here are some pictures that we took on her actual birthday of her when she was 1 year, wearing a dress that she picked out. She gets to pick out her clothes most days, and she always picks out a peach or a pink dress almost every single day. So there's her in a swing. She is such a funny little critter and very active, like I said. So please tag me in any recreations for the little Bob design, and don't forget to click subscribe to all my future videos as well.